What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, joined by my co-host, Alex Wilson. And there's not a whole lot of positive news to talk about regarding the New York Giants these days. They're 1-5. They're coming off of another loss. They haven't scored a touchdown on offense in over 3 games. It's been a pretty ugly season for the New York Giants. But when we can find those silver linings, believe us, we will find them. And Bobby Okereke is standing out as a true silver lining amongst this terrible season that the New York Giants are having. I mean, Bobby Okereke, you could even argue that he's making a case for an all-pro team this season. In week 6, he went parabolic. He was crazy on the football field. You guys know we love Okereke, a friend of the podcast. We interviewed him in the offseason, and in the offseason, he described himself as a fast, physical, sideline-to-sideline linebacker. Well, all of those traits were on full display on Sunday Night Football. He was fast, he was physical, he was disciplined against the run, he made plays in coverage, making plays from sideline to sideline. Bobby Okereke was phenomenal in week 6 and against the Buffalo Bills. So in today's episode, we're going to discuss Bobby Okereke and dive into the film, take a look at the clips from this game, and really highlight just how great of a performance he had. But before we dive into all that, make sure to leave a like if you do enjoy this episode, subscribe to the channel if you are new, ring the bell so you don't miss an episode, and comment your thoughts on the topic down below in the comment section. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please make sure to leave us a 5-star review, and go ahead and follow us on all of our social media channels at Fireside Giants. But without further ado, Alex, how are you doing today, my friend? And what are your thoughts on Bobby Okereke's parabolic performance in week 6?
Well, I'll tell you what, Bobby Okereke put together one of the best linebacker performances we've seen from this Giants team in maybe a decade. It might be a decade. So I'll tell you what, this is exactly the reason they gave him a 4-year, $40 million deal. $10 million for a player of that magnitude is pretty awesome. Like, I'd say that's a steal. And we're seeing the fruits of what Bobby Okereke can provide to this defense. Sideline to sideline speed, as you referenced. He is an athletic freak. He is also a really freaking good dude. Like, he's just a genuinely great guy. He's a leader. He makes everybody else around him better. You saw that with Micah McFadden. McFadden's been playing a lot better, but I think that he is making him better. Like, I think Okereke is helping him become a better player. Right time, right place. And Bobby Okereke is like, just follow me around. I will create the turnovers. You just got to be there to scoop them up. Like, that's basically what's been happening. He's been in the right place, right time. And that's always a good duo to have. A linebacker that can create the turnovers, and then another one that's always right there to scoop them up. So what we saw from Bobby Okereke was really exciting. We want to break it down for you guys, take a look at what he did, and really just react to the absolute fantastic performance he put on the football field. Now, it's been a couple weeks. He missed a couple tackles. So far in the season, he has 39 tackles. He's missed 6 tackles, but he hasn't missed a tackle in the last 2 weeks. Now, guys, the main thing I want to reference here is against the San Francisco 49ers, we gave up 30-plus points. We missed 16 tackles. Against Buffalo, we gave up 14 points, and we only missed 5. So you see the difference. Of course, there's a lot more context that goes into that, but the truth is, if you don't miss tackles, it makes defense a lot easier for you. We miss a lot of tackles against San Francisco on third downs. The Giants got off the field on third downs against Buffalo. They did a really good job. And at the end of the day, I think that we're seeing this defense take another step forward. Wink Martindale adjusted. He's putting together a really, really solid couple of games. I know Miami was a little bit difficult, but, nobody can stop Tyreek Hill and David Achane and all these really talented players they have. I mean, they're just really impossible to stop. Otherwise, from a couple of big plays, we did hold them to a decent scoreline. I'd say we probably could have done better, but I think the offense being off the field for the majority of the game definitely didn't help our numbers there. But, against the Buffalo Bills, a really high octane offense, really good unit. I think that this defense stepped up and played their best game of the season, and it wasn't even close. Now you start to compound on that. You say to yourself, okay, now we know what our ceiling is. We know what we're capable of. How do we do this every single week? Now, Bobby Okereke is not going to have this type of game every single week, but you might be able to get somebody else to step up every week and help, put together really strong performances. Dante Banks had a good performance. Dexter Lawrence continues to play really well. I think Kayvon Thibodeau led the team in pressures against Buffalo. That kind of went under the table. So a lot of people missed that. And Micah McFadden's been playing excellent. But I'm excited to dive into his film, specifically Okereke. We'll obviously see a lot of these other guys like McFadden in the picture. So we'll keep an eye on him as well. But you're going to see here one of the best performances from a linebacker we've seen in a decade. And I think it's fair. Like, it's fun to be positive for once. Like, we're always talking about doomsday Armageddon type shit. And I'm kind of excited to talk about something positive. And Okereke finally gave us an excuse to record an episode where we actually can smile.
Yes, and smile I will while watching the best linebacker performance from a New York Giants player since the Bush administration. Bobby Okereke really stood out in this game, gave us something to smile about. So let's go ahead. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and dive right into Bobby Okereke's film from week 6. And before we dive into this Bobby Okereke film from week 6, got to give a big shout out to Nick Filato. He's been cooking up all these clips from the film, all 22, posting them on Twitter. So shout out to you, Nick. Thank you for posting this. And we're going to go ahead and break down this film that you posted and look at Bobby Okereke. Now he's highlighted on the screen, big circle around Okereke on this play. And let's waste no further time and watch what happens. Now, here you're seeing him in coverage. This is a quick flat route to number 13. And this is the play where Bobby Okereke did force the fumble. Now, I want to go back and look at this because this is just tremendous speed, right? This is what we were talking about when we were saying sideline to sideline, because Bobby Okereke is being pushed downfield here trying to guard a seam route. The ball gets thrown out into the flat. Immediately, as soon as the ball is thrown, he just snaps his head around and books it to the sideline. Gets there, makes the tackle. And I know, Alex, you were just talking about missed tackles for the Giants. There was a couple missed tackles here. This probably should have been a tackle for a very minimal gain, but thankfully it wasn't. This is actually one of those moments where you're like, oh, good thing they missed those tackles, because then Bobby Okereke just flies in here like a heat-seeking missile and punches the ball out. Micah McFadden jumps on it. A really awesome, tremendous play there. And again, I just think you're seeing Okereke's athleticism really shine through on a play like this one.
I mean, not only his athleticism, but think about the IQ and vision he has to have here. Look at him. So he's looking at that route. I think it's Gabriel Davis. But he's following that seam route, of course, as you mentioned. But look, like the internal clock is like, all right, the ball should be out by now, right? The ball should be gone. I've been running with this guy for a couple seconds. The ball should be out, unless it's Josh Allen running down the field. Flips his head around and realizes, okay, there's a guy here, but the difference between being a good and great player is the pursuit, right? You look at what Bobby Okereke does here, and he doesn't give up on this play. In fact, he turns a big gain for Gabriel Davis into a turnover. So, like, that's kind of where you're looking at Bobby. I mean, look at him right here. You're seeing. I mean, this is just great pursuit. You see other guys. I mean, you see other guys jogging, like, those guys behind him that aren't going full speed here. But Bobby Okereke is going full speed. Like, McFadden is kind of jogging here. McKinney's kind of jogging here. But Okereke is at 100% maximum capacity. And look what happens. Good results. Really great technique here. Look at the punch. That right hand's going inside. That has to be perfectly placed, because if you don't perfectly place this, he knows he has support here. He knows even if he misses this tackle, another guy will clean it up. So he goes for the big one. He goes for the punch. And look at that hands coming around the edge. This is perfectly executed. Like, you couldn't teach this better if you tried. He's already getting tackled. He's going to the ground, probably thinking about bracing himself for impact. And bam, that punch comes out and knocks it right out. I mean, that's the difference between winning and losing football games, those little moments right there. Bobby Okereke started off his game with a fire moment like this. Perfect technique, took advantage of a player going to the ground, and look where that ball falls, right at the sideline, right where it needs to go. And look who's there, his buddy Micah McFadden, who plays right next to him. So those two linebackers stepping up, making plays. That's obviously a big standout moment for the Giants, who didn't create a turnover for the first couple games of the season, but I think if they've created, 4 or 5 in the last 2 games, I mean, they're doing really well now. They're creating lots of turnovers, and Bobby Okereke is leading the way in that regard. Last week, I remember the Jason Pinnock touchdown return. Bobby Okereke tipped that pass. So, you're looking at Okereke putting together multiple games of elite play now. He's helping create turnovers. He's giving the Giants a chance to compete in these games, because if he doesn't help those, if he doesn't tip those 2 passes, if he doesn't create this forced fumble, we might lose this game 28-9. That's the reality. He saved us and put us in a place where we could have won. Unfortunately, the offense just didn't do enough.
Yeah, I mean, Okereke has been balling. And I also got to give credit to Wink Martindale as well, because after week 3, I think it was, maybe week 4, he said in a press conference, we're not creating enough turnovers. It's my job. We got to fix that. And since then, they've been creating turnovers, multiple per week. So it's a really impressive thing from Wink Martindale. I'm glad that he stepped up to the plate and delivered on that promise. But let's keep rolling through this film on Bobby Okereke. Here you're just seeing some of that great run defense discipline that he mentioned in that interview with us. This play is nothing too crazy, but this is one of his 11 total tackles on the game. And I just like his eyes here. When you watch this, he's so good at just following the running back. And when the running back sees him in the hole, shifts to the other hole, he does a great job of shedding that block and getting involved and making this tackle at the second level. So Okereke really just all over the place again in coverage, the sideline to sideline speed. Alex, listen, we talked about him a lot in the offseason, and we discussed how he's going to be an upgrade for the Giants in coverage from the linebacker position, but I didn't think it would be this significant. Okereke is balling from a coverage standpoint as a linebacker. He has been phenomenal in that regard. And then you're seeing phenomenal run plays like this one, shooting the gap so well timed, so disciplined in making sure that he does his assignment, shoots that gap, and makes the tackle for loss. So, how are you feeling about just kind of that combination there? Not only are we seeing him with that discipline and run defense, but also even a play ago, just seeing how he's able to sniff out a screen pass, get there in coverage, and make a lot of plays using that athleticism. This is on Stephon Diggs as well. So I've been blown away by his coverage abilities.
By far some of the best coverage we've seen from a linebacker on the Giants. And look, he's 27 years old. This guy is a kid. He's so young. I'm 27. I mean, he's got like 100 pounds on me and much more athletic. But end of the day, this is a guy that he's so like such a great dude. Like I said before, and if you've watched the interview, man, he is such a cool guy. And he is a leader. He's so well spoken. I mean, he is just an intelligent individual, and it bleeds onto the football field too. Like you can see everything about his makeup as a person, his character is just a part of how he plays, right? The leadership, the vision, the aggressiveness, just everything you see about him is showing up in these 2 weeks, these past 2 games where he's finally feeling comfortable in this scheme. And Micah McFadden's a really good player to have alongside him. What I really liked, and I'll take control of this now to kind of show what I mean here. Watch what he does before this play. So look at him. He's communicating to Micah McFadden what exactly he wants him to do as the Mike linebacker. He's trying to say, okay, this is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to look out for. Maybe he's telling him to fill that gap on the left side. So that way he can fill the gap on the right side. And basically it happens just like that. It's a little draw, and Micah McFadden has that side covered, and Bobby Okereke fills that gap and stops that run for a loss. And look, that's kind of just good communication, connecting with your fellow linebacker. The chemistry is growing, and that's really what I have to say about that specific play. Is you see the communication, you see him get his head up, the vision. He identifies the runner really quickly, finds the open lane, and fills it, and doesn't miss the tackle. He didn't miss a tackle against Buffalo, and that really was the difference in this game at times. Like, those missed tackles end up biting you in the butt a lot, and the Giants have felt that pain the first couple of weeks of the season. But the last couple games, at least this last game, very few missed tackles, and it really showed that we were able to stop them and force third down conversions, and they failed to convert on a lot of them because of that.
Yeah, and I love that you pointed out the communication there. I think that's a really crucial part of what Bobby Okereke does for this defense, as you just pointed out. He's pointing out, making the play, but also what I love, zero hesitation. Just shoots the gap and makes the play. I mean, listen, I don't want to oversell it. Like, we've gotten decent linebacker play over the past few years. I think when you look at Blake Martinez, he had a really good season for the New York Giants a few years ago. Obviously, it didn't pan out there. Season-ending injury really derailed his career. But even still, shooting the gaps like this feels like something that surpasses anything we saw from Martinez or any of the linebackers that we've watched over the past several seasons. I mean, just zero hesitation. This is a guy who you could tell does his film study, knows what's coming, and just attacks. And I love that mentality from a linebacker, an inside linebacker that has zero hesitation, just shoots those gaps, makes those run plays. You got to love it. And you're seeing it here as well. He's just always involved. It feels like every time opposing teams run up the middle of the field, Bobby Okereke is there. He's in the lane. He's making the play. And here's a big play. In coverage, I mean, look, Josh Allen's going. He's throwing. He's doing his thing. He's scrambling. And Bobby Okereke is just there, almost playing a zone or maybe a QB spy. But this is something, again, the New York Giants haven't had this. A linebacker with this kind of athleticism. Every time I watch Okereke, I think back to that interview that we did, and I hear in his head, I'm a fast, physical sideline-to-sideline linebacker. That's the quote, and it just keeps standing out to me. I see a play like this. This is Josh Allen. What he's so good at is making these plays off script, using his legs. He's dangerous. He gains a ton of rushing yardage, but Bobby Okereke just sniffs it out. He stays with Josh Allen, and he shuts him down. And I think that's something tremendous from a linebacker standpoint, to have that athleticism to chase down a quarterback scrambling out of the pocket and prevent big time plays. Because we did see it later in the game, right? Josh Allen scrambled out of the pocket, made a tremendous throw. I mean, usually an ill-advised throw for most quarterbacks, but for Josh Allen, he throws a dime and he pretty much throws a game-winning touchdown pass. But that's one play, and here's another example of how the Giants actually do have something to counteract plays like that this season with Bobby Okereke, just being able to trace where that quarterback is going, prevent him from making any crazy passes, and just tackle him for a minimal gain or even a tackle for loss. So I think that's something that's really worth highlighting, Alex, when you're looking at Bobby Okereke and his ability to match up not just with tight ends, not just with running backs, but also with quarterbacks. That's something that's really valuable. We thought that we were bringing in Isaiah Simmons to play this role. Isaiah Simmons hasn't been on the field the whole time because, yes, Micah McFadden has been playing some damn good football, but also Bobby Okereke is really good at masking those quarterbacks and doing essentially what we thought Isaiah Simmons was coming in here to do. So how impressive is it to see Bobby Okereke make plays like this where he's slowing down quarterbacks and preventing them from making big-time off-script plays?
Look, so Anthony, I think you'll appreciate this. And if you guys are soccer fans, I think you'll appreciate this too. If you look at really great soccer players, really great, just phenomenal, like let's say Lionel Messi or that, because everyone knows who Messi is. What do they do that makes them so great? They're always looking around. They're always looking for space, looking for assignments, looking for where players are so they can take advantage of that and move appropriately. Watch Bobby Okereke's eyes here. Watch where he's looking at all times. So on this play, he sees number 80, I think it's Dawson Knox here maybe, break free here. Watch his eyes again. Looks back to see where Josh Allen is. Look where his eyes go. Checks to see that he has help, that he's getting help over here from his safety, Xavier McKinney. Maybe there's another defensive back over here to support. So he says, okay, I know I have support over here. Dials back in on Josh Allen. Let's see where he goes now. So now he's looking to see if there's anyone in the flat. Do I have to bite down here? Josh Allen's looking. Look where Josh Allen's eyes are. Exactly where Bobby Okereke is. Exactly where Bobby Okereke wants to go. See how this continues to unfold. Josh Allen now rolls out, and Bobby Okereke's eyes are back on Josh Allen. Now he knows, okay, this is where he usually runs. He's going to take off here. I have to close this space as fast as possible. And Bobby Okereke now hesitates because he starts to kind of look like he's going to throw, tries to get in front of the passing lane, gets in front of the passing lane. He can't make that throw, ends up having to hold it, and he tackles him, right? That is like, if you are a soccer fan, that is the equivalent of what like a Messi would do in that situation, looking around, looking for space, looking for assignments, looking to find a pocket where he can receive the ball. In Bobby Okereke's world, as a linebacker, he's looking at the tight end. Where is the tight end? Do I have support there? How can I cut this passing lane off? How can I close in on Josh Allen? How can I get in his face? How can I get in his way? And his eyes are always looking, where is this guy? Where is that guy? Well, how can I put myself in a position to make a play? And that's textbook level linebacker play right there. Like, eyes are always moving, getting into the right place, and his eyes are connected with his motion, right? He's not looking and hesitating. He's looking and reacting, and it's instantaneous. That mental processing is elite in this game specifically. We've seen flashes of it up to this point. This game, he had a whole game of elite mental processing, and he's able to react to his thoughts process just instantaneously. And that's the difference between being a good and great linebacker. And Bobby Okereke put on a great performance, and his eyes, it's the IQ, man. Like you can't teach that type of stuff. He is just an incredibly intelligent football player.
100%. Stanford product. He's got that high football IQ and that high IQ off the field as well. But Okereke, his vision, look at it. Another play where he just shoots the gap, zero hesitation, just gets in there and makes the run stop. And then I love this goal line stop by the New York Giants. This isn't just Okereke. This is a time where you mentioned at the beginning of the episode, Alex, we'll have opportunities to highlight other players. You can highlight probably 3 to 4 players on this play. Micah McFadden screaming off the edge. Dexter Lawrence just having his way with the opposing center and screaming through the A gap here and helping make the stop with Bobby Okereke. And there's a third player involved. I think that's Cordell Flott on the goal line, which I'm surprised that a player of his stature is even playing on the goal line, but he does a phenomenal job getting in there, shooting that gap, and getting involved on this run stop on the goal line. So just a tremendous play here with Bobby Okereke, Dexter Lawrence, Cordell Flott, everybody getting involved. But of course, Okereke leading the way from that inside linebacker spot, shooting that gap, giving the Buffalo Bills running back nowhere to go, and allowing himself, Cordell Flott, and Dexter Lawrence to make a crucial goal line stand.
Yeah, and he just understands the assignments. Like if you go back here, let's see, he just understands these assignments so well. You're seeing, I'm pretty sure that it doesn't look like it, but there's a guy right in front of him. You have Dexter Lawrence, I think Leonard Williams too, right in front of that left guard. And he just knows his assignment so well because he knows 73 is out here having to try and block. I think it's Jason Pinnock and whoever that is right to the left of him, but Thibodeau. So he has his work cut out for him. Now you have Micah McFadden, like you said, screaming off the edge, and Dawson Knox or Kincaid, whoever is 88, it has to block, McFadden. And you have Gabriel Davis there as well, and he's going to try and block McFadden and fail miserably. But Bobby Okereke knows this is a numbers game, and he has an advantage here because, you look at the left tackle, he's occupied. You look at the left guard, he's occupied. And look, Leonard Williams is going to take up whoever is in front of him, and Dexter Lawrence is going to take up 2. So you look at exactly what happens here, and he just has a free reign because there is nobody that can block him. There's just a numbers game, and he is just so intelligent. He knows exactly where to be because they needed that combo block on the right side. He knew, right? And the thing is, like, that combo block on the right side probably means, I think it was Latavius Murray is trying to run to that right side to get behind those blockers. And Okereke, athleticism. This is where the athleticism shows up because he now has to outrun, cut that angle to get there before Murray does. And he does just that. So it's, again, incredible IQ, really good sideline to sideline speed, really good athleticism, really good speed. It's just a complete game, man, on all fronts. He was just firing on all cylinders. It's pretty incredible to watch, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'll even say I'll throw even more credit the way to other Giants defenders. That is part of the impact of having a great defensive line. You had gaps filled there by guys like Leonard Williams, as you mentioned, just doing a really solid job on that goal line, opening things up for Okereke. But here, another phenomenal play in coverage. This is a tight window throw by Josh Allen. Usually you see him sneak those in there, but you can't sneak those in there when your linebacker is fully horizontal midway through the air, flying through like Superman to get the pass breakup. I mean, we've been talking about athleticism from Okereke for this whole game, and just look at this full extension. He literally soars through the air to get his fingertips on this ball and create a pass breakup. So I just athleticism. It continues to stand out. He's vertical, he's off the ground, and he's diving and making this play. And this could have been a big gain for the Buffalo Bills if Bobby Okereke didn't dive out there and get his hand on this pass. So he gets up, he celebrates, he deserves to. It's a tight window throw again. Josh Allen probably should have waited for the second window on this, but I just think Bobby Okereke had the whole thing covered. I mean, look at him snap his head around, recognize where the receiver is, and get there. Just tremendous ability. And once again, Alex, you were talking earlier about that field vision, that scanning around the field to see who's breaking open, to see where he needs to be to support his teammates. You see it right there. He turns, snaps his head, had his eyes on the quarterback, looked at where Josh Allen was going with the football, and just beat him to the spot and broke up the pass. So just another tremendous play in coverage from Bobby Okereke.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Look at his eyes, man. I mean, that just tells the whole story. You see his eyes at the beginning of the play. I mean, he's dialed in on Josh Allen, right? They were like almost spying on Josh Allen's eyes to see where, like, that's basically Okereke's entire game plan, to spy on his eyes and try to interrupt those passing lanes. And look what he does here. Like, look, just, it's incredible because this throw is in motion, right? This throw is in motion, and Okereke is looking at that, and he knows, okay, there's a pocket of space here behind McFadden, and I have to get there. And he turns around after seeing, this route, and just intercepts that ball. I mean, just tips that ball up. That could have been another interception in a better play, and he did it earlier in the game, obviously. So it just goes to show that vision and that ability to whip his head around and recalibrate, and then see the ball and he just identifies things at such a high mental processing rate. Like, how many times do you see players like identify something and then hesitate? Like, for example, Daniel Jones does it all the time. Like, he identifies something and he takes a while to like actually process it and then get rid of the ball at times. Not all the times, but it happens. And a lot of other players do it too. You know what I mean? Like, at their respective positions. We've seen Saquon Barkley do it. Like, there's a gap there, and sometimes he hesitates and he doesn't hit it. Obviously, he was excellent in the fourth quarter and dealing with that ankle injury. He stepped up really big at the end there. But like, we've seen a lot of guys do it and across the league. So, looking at Bobby Okereke in this game specifically, the ability to recalibrate, move his eyes, and then react is just insane. It's just unbelievable how quick he's able to assess what's going on and react to it. Let's see what he does here. I think this is the interception.
Yeah, this is the interception. And listen, this could have been a touchdown if not for this play by Bobby Okereke. Like, this guy is open, breaking down the middle of the field, and Okereke just barely gets his hand on this ball. I mean, it looks like this coverage is beat. Like, this is going to be a deep post route for a huge gain downfield. This guy breaks one tackle. He's going into the end zone. But Okereke gets that hand up again, athleticism, the vertical jump here to get his fingertips on that ball, and it just tips right up to Micah McFadden. We got to give a shout out to Micah McFadden for the way that he's performed through the first 6 weeks of the season as well. Getting his hands on this football, recording this interception, also recovered the fumble from Okereke earlier. This is a sick linebacker duo that the Giants are building right here. You got to tip your hat to Joe Shane for finding McFadden in the late rounds and going out and signing Okereke, knowing that he was the perfect piece for Wink Martindale's defensive system. But again, just another tremendous play in coverage. Look at how he reads the field. He's covering pretty much two players at once. He's playing a zone here, and he's trying to see, is this running back on an option route coming into my zone, or do I have to drop a little bit deeper and make sure that this tight end over the top doesn't get this target. The tight end gets the target, but he drops back. He makes an incredible athletic play here, tips the ball up, and that's an interception. So also, once again, a shout out to other players on the defense. I think that Dexter Lawrence had a pretty heavy hand to play in this.
Yep.
What a dominant rep there on the interior to pass rush and apply pressure to Josh Allen and get the ball out of his hands probably just a touch sooner than he wanted to, leading to Bobby Okereke getting in that passing lane and creating this turnover.
I mean, dude, without Dexter Lawrence, this team falls apart straight up, this defense. I mean, like, look at everybody else. Like, no one is even close. Kayvon Thibodeau is miles from Josh Allen. I don't know, is that Boogie Basham or Jihad Ward? I don't know. Miles. Leonard Williams, he's almost, you can't even see him. He's so blocked. Dexter Lawrence here is the only reason, like, if Dexter Lawrence doesn't get in his face here, Josh Allen could sit back here and let this route continue to develop upfield. Like, he doesn't have to get rid of this ball so fast. Without Dexter Lawrence, this defense probably stinks. Like, that's the reality. Like, that's how good he is. The entire film, you're going to see, like you saw, like Dexter Lawrence, every single play, like he is just in the backfield, just plays happen, making things happen. And without him, man, this pass rush is basically obsolete. There's nothing there. Like Kayvon Thibodeau had a couple, I think it's 6 pressures, scattered throughout, but he wasn't winning a lot of these reps. Like doesn't look like he's doing, maybe he's just containing here. It's possible he's kind of just helping contain. And they have support there. They're doubling him. They have 1v1 on the opposite side, which they were banking on. So maybe that's exactly what they were hoping. But it's just impressive that Dexter Lawrence consistently shows up and make plays every single down. Like he's just always in the face. And even if it's not a hurry or a pressure, like he's always winning those battles 1v1 and even 2v1 he's winning. So, and then Bobby Okereke, of course, helping support there. Eyes on the football, cutting that passing lane. Just excellent stuff, man. I mean, this defense was in sync, to say the least. They balled out, and it's unfortunate our offense couldn't help score an extra touchdown. I mean, we came away with 0 points on 2 opportunities at the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
That is very, very bad. So we should have won that game. The defense did everything they could, and as Xavier McKinney said last week, it's not the defense's fault we're losing games, and I think I can fully agree with him at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree with him as well. I've been saying that even since before the Dolphins game. And after that Dolphins game, the Giants had 3 turnovers against the Dolphins, forced 3 turnovers, and the offense still didn't capitalize on a single one of them, didn't score any touchdowns. Obviously, the Giants scored 6 points on one of those turnovers from the pick 6 by Jason Pinnock, but the other 2, 0 points to show for it. And you can't say that the Giants defense is losing them any of these games this season. I feel like the defense has really hung in there with some of the best offenses in the NFL and put in their best effort. But when your offense isn't scoring points, your offense is on the field and once again off the field, it's very, very difficult for a defense to sustain their high level of play throughout a game. But lately they have been. The Giants defense, you have to give credit to this unit and really just highlight the tremendous play of some of these guys like Bobby Okereke, Micah McFadden, and of course, Dexter Lawrence. It's been super fun to watch this unit work, and they've been playing a lot better in recent weeks. I love this play from Bobby Okereke, and also I do love the heads-up awareness from Micah McFadden to get his hands on the football and secure this interception. I feel like in the past, Alex, we've seen Giants linebackers and defensive backs, the ball pops up, they've got an opportunity to intercept it, and they just don't locate it or they drop it. How many times have we seen Curtis Riley, if you want to really throw it back and have a nightmare? We've seen Giants players not make this play, so I just want to give a shout out to Micah McFadden as well. It's a tremendous play by Okereke, potentially saving a touchdown, but McFadden having the awareness to get his hands on this football and corral this interception, he's been great as well. But that pretty much wraps this one up. A tremendous performance from Bobby Okereke, an elite performance. We haven't seen a linebacker play at this level for the New York Giants in a very long time. But it's really exciting to see Okereke lead the charge for this Giants defense that has been red hot for the past couple of weeks here. And going forward, I'm excited to see if the offense can start matching that intensity. I know this season is mostly a lost cause. We're 1-5, but we do have a pretty winnable stretch of games coming up here for the next 3 weeks. You've got the Commanders. I mean, the Giants usually fare well against Washington. Then, of course, Las Vegas is on the schedule in the next 3 weeks, and the New York Jets, which the Jets are playing some good football right now, just beat the Philadelphia Eagles. So shout out to the Jets. Thank you, New York Jets, for that one. Great favor that they did for us. But I do think that these are three games that if the Giants offense can start matching the intensity of the defense, maybe they could sneak out a win or 2, and Giants fans can go to bed happy one of these Sunday nights. So it'll be really, really exciting to watch Bobby Okereke lead the charge here and continue to be the leader of this defense. And again, super happy that the Giants managed to grab him and are developing Micah McFadden as well. The future is definitely bright for the Giants linebacker core, which is something we haven't been able to say in a very, very long time. But we'll see how the rest of the season shapes out. And of course, we'll continue to hit you with film breakdowns, analysis, and updates on the New York Giants all season long right here on Fireside Giants. So make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this episode. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Ring the bell so you don't miss an episode, and comment your thoughts on the topic down below in the comment section. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And go ahead and follow us on all of our social media channels at Fireside Giants. But without further ado, we will catch you all in the next one. Have a good one, and let's go Giants.